homesteading to prepping to common horse sense, we are College Hill Farm. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, it's time. The potatoes say that they're ready. It's Saturday, March the 28th or 29th. I'm not sure which date. But the potatoes say that they're ready. The Blue Adirondacks and the Red Pontiacs are all ready to go in the ground. So it's 5 in the morning. I'm going to get these out, get them in a bucket. I'll show you what to do to get them ready. Now these little bitty ones, like this, I'll show you this one, like that. I'll just plant those whole. But the bigger ones need to be cut. Alright, getting potatoes ready for the field is not a big deal. You need your pocket knife, you need the taters. Now, little bitty potatoes, I'll plant those whole. But these, what you want to do, this one is called a Kennebec. And you'll notice there are several good eyes on this potato. You just take and cut here. I want to have 2 eyes on each planting. There's 2 eyes. And can I divide that again? I can. There's 2 eyes. And then there's 3 eyes on this one. So that potato is ready to plant about 1.5 foot a row. Okay, that one potato planted 1.5 foot. So if you got a 100-foot row, you can figure out how many it does. Now that's the Kennebec, nice white fleshed potato. The skins are kind of soft in the spring and the fall, and then they toughen up over the winter. It's actually my favorite potato. It's kind of a waxy potato. It has a great flavor. This one is a Blue Adirondack. And again, you want to look for 2 eyes. But you'll notice not all the eyes. We got an eye here. But right here is just a little bitty eye. But that's okay. That'll grow just fine. And then there's one here and one there and one there. Okay, so I don't want to cut too many here. So I'm going to just take and do like this. And the Blue Adirondack is a blue potato. Now this potato's got a little problem. I'll probably throw that one away. See how it's got kind of a rot down into here? I'll probably get rid of that and not use it as a seed potato. But that's how you would cut it up. You know, I cut it and left 1, 2, 3 eyes on that piece. Then there are, on this piece, there's 1, 2, 3 eyes. But this potato's got some problems, so I will not use it as a seed potato. Alright, now, this is my Red Pontiac. You'll notice it's kind of purple looking. When I cut it, a little redness around the outside here, a little pink. I don't know how well that shows up on the video, but I cut it, left 2, and then in this one there's just 2, so I won't cut that. I thought there was more. I was going to cut it, but there's just 2. So these 3 potatoes right here were ready to do 6 feet worth of row, just using 3 little potatoes. Okay, let's I'll get all these cut up and in buckets, and I generally do a row and a half of Blue Adirondacks, a row and a half of Red Pontiacs, and then about 4 rows of Kennebecs. Here we are, between 40 and 50 pounds of seed potatoes. I generally get 4 or 5, as many as 10 to 1. So on the planting, just depends. This is probably 50 pounds. Now I never understood as a kid why Pa wanted, and Dad wanted me to pick up these. As a kid, back before they had the grabbers that like I use, I show you. Back before they had those grabbers and things, it was the kids' job to go along and pick up these little bitty potatoes. Well, I never understood why, but when you're cutting up these potatoes, when you come up on one like that, that's just big enough to use and you can just throw it in there, you don't have to cut it up. It cuts down on the time tremendously. So save those little potatoes. They're also good to eat. You just wash them, throw them in a bowl and cook them. All right, see you in the field. Alright, I'm going to put my healers on. Of course, this is a homemade set of healers. I just used my cultivator and welded a bar on right here and then put the healer holders. I don't want them to make a big heel, so I'm going to angle them so that they're not going to make a great big heel, and I'll go slow so that they just pull up real slow. Instead of going fast, they throw up a big heel. They'll just put up a little bitty heel. Now, why do I do that? Well, the number one reason that I use a set of healers to cover my potatoes is it's just easier. I could go down through there, 700-foot row of potatoes, 700 feet worth of potatoes, and cover them with a hoe to begin with and heel them later. That's just double work. So let me get these healers on. Now, I don't put these at an extreme angle. I'm going to show you. Let me bring you over so you can see. Now, there they are at the back of the tractor. You can see they're almost straight, but there's just every bitty so tiny bit of angle, and you want to try and make sure that they're kind of centered up on the tractor. Well, these aren't. They're just a little to the left, so when I drive over the row, I'll drive just a little to the right. Okay, let's get down to the field. Okay, here we are in the field. Now, you saw that I've got those in 5-gallon buckets. Well, I'm not going to use a 5-gallon bucket to walk down these rows, and let me explain. When I cut the potatoes, I put them in a 5-gallon bucket downstairs. And right before I came upstairs, I weighed them. One bucket weighed 28 pounds and one bucket weighed 23 pounds. So those two buckets are 50 pounds of potatoes. I expect to get 200 pounds of usable potatoes and then enough back for seed. And between 200 and 400 pounds is what I would normally get. If I get 2, I'm okay. That's 20 10-pound bags of potatoes. Okay, 400 pounds is 40 10-pound bags of potatoes. So me and Crystal can deal with that pretty good. But now I don't want to carry a 28-pound bucket of potatoes down the row. So I get one of these little 2-gallon buckets, these little dollar store buckets I pay $1 for. I get those and I'll put the potatoes in them and carry them down the rows. Now let me show you why I lay out the rows like I do. Now I lay out my rows, I let the tiller decide where the rows are. See, here's a row right here. Okay, I'm going to lay a row of potatoes in there. But now my tiller is this wide. I can't put another row right there, so I'll come over about the center of that and put a row of potatoes. I might even go all the way over to that next row. Then I can come over here, and I've got them in that row, so I can come over and do halfway in that row. And then go to the next row and so on. That way I can plow in between the rows with my tiller, and it cuts with my tiller on my tractor, not a hand tiller, so it cuts down on the amount of work that I have to do. It's not like I don't have enough work as it is. So if you've got something to stop that kind of work, you need to use it. So I'm going to get at this. I'm going to put 700 feet of potato rows in today, I hope. If I don't have enough seed potatoes to do that, I'll go back in the basement and get some more. There's probably another 10 or 15 pounds, 20 left down there. Got my first 2.5 rows in. Back's hurting a little bit, so I'm going to take a break and go ahead and hill them. And that is how I take a break doing this stuff. So I'm going to try and move you off and let you see how we hill them. Now I don't go fast hilling in this first pass because I just want it to cover the potatoes. Then in about 2 or 3 weeks, the weeds will start coming up, and I'll go through and till between all of them, put the hillers back on, and go through and hill them again. The potatoes should be up 3 or 4 inches. I'll hill them again, only I'll hill them higher. That'll smother out any weeds that have started on the sides, and the potatoes will just keep coming right up through them, and that's where your potatoes will set on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll move the camera. I got a fly. It's aggravating the far out of me. I'll move the camera so you can see, and we'll just do it. Neither me nor this method is perfect. Sometimes as you're going down through there, you should always go downhill. This garden is on a hill. It's sloped. If you're going to use your tractor to make hills and things like that, you need to hill going downhill, which is what I've done both times. The row over here did real good. The row right here had quite a few potatoes that got flipped up on top of the ground. So I'm going to go down through here and push those in. Only about 8 or 10, but that's 8 or 10 it wasn't going to make, so went down and pushed them down in a row. Alright, I'm going to get it planting the rest of our potatoes. I've got 2 rows put in. I got a half a row already dropped. I got to finish dropping that. When I get done, there'll be 6 or 7 rows. Okay, that wound up giving me 6 rows. Now, normally, used to, I fertilized when I put my potatoes in the hill. This first time, the instant I planted them, I put fertilizer. This year, I'm doing an experiment because I've got the sneaking feeling that until that potato starts putting on green, I think the fertilizer is only fertilizing weeds. So I'm going to fertilize these when I hill for the first time. Of course, you know, I put a little hill on them today, but I'll hill them up good about mid-April. It's the last week of March. It's the last Saturday in March. It's the waxing moon. You really ought to plant potatoes on the waning moon, but you know, that's the way it is. I plant potatoes in the ground, not in the signs. But I'll fertilize these in about 2 or 3 weeks after they're through the ground and up, and I pull the hill up bigger around them. I'll put fertilize before I hill, and then I'll hill it, and then that green will have something to eat. Now, if you like this kind of stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homesteading stuff every week, sometimes 1, sometimes 5 videos. It just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now, if you hit the little bell, it will notify you when we upload a video. We upload every Sunday. And now, with that being said, it's time for me to get on to the next thing.